Hello and welcome to the second instalment of Cult News. I'm your speaker, Casey, host of the Cult Vault podcast. And if you are enjoying this content, please consider liking and subscribing to the YouTube channel and following me on Patreon at patreon.com/The Cult Vault for exclusive and ad-free content. Now on to today's news. Texas mum Jamie Gooch revealed during a recent interview with KWTX a warning to other parents about the dangers of the recent release of Disney's Hocus Pocus 2. According to an article by Zach Schaff for Variety.com, Gooch has been quoted saying, "A worst-case scenario is you unleash hell on your kids and in your home." Gooch said, "The whole movie is based on witches harvesting children for blood sacrifices. Do not watch this film," she continued. "Everybody thinks it's fake and innocent, but they could be casting any type of spell that they want to. Anything could be coming through that TV screen into your home." End quote. Is this skepticism around Halloween something that is familiar to you? Or the worries of witchcraft and magic? Have you tuned in to the Disney movie, and what are your thoughts? Available on Disney Plus from September 30th. Let me know if you've seen it and what you thought. An article by Sarah Ingram for metro.co.uk features the public outcry from one individual who has found themselves victim of threats, abuse and a life of misery after trying to correct the narrative around Ricky Dearman and the alleged satanic ritualistic paedophile ring he was leading in Hampstead. Dearman's two children came forward with shocking stories of satanic ritualistic abuse taking place at the hands of social workers, teachers, law enforcement, and their own father Ricky Dearman, who was supposedly at the head of the underground network. It was later revealed that the children's mother and new partner had coached the kids into making these false allegations. Despite the case being thrown out of court, one woman still finds her life turned upside down by the events. Going by the name Karen, this lady was accidentally linked to the case through an online misunderstanding despite being over 3,000 miles away in Canada. Since then, she has received hundreds of threats to her life, constant abuse, and even pictures of severed heads. The Extinction Rebellion finds itself in the news again this week. The, quote, non-violent civil disobedient movement says life on Earth is in crisis and facing a mass extinction. It wants governments to declare a climate and ecological emergency and take immediate action. Often labelled as a doomsday cult by YouTubers and newspapers, Express.co.uk's Michael Curzon detailed the events of a member of the movement, Maddie Budd, who has said, quote, "We're setting ourselves on fire every day until the UK domestic flights are banned." She goes on to pour lighter fluid on her arm and then sets a light to it before letting out a piercing scream and attempting to shake the flames out. Budd was the subject of news articles only days before, after being pictured pouring excrement on the statue of recently deceased British hero Captain Sir Tom Moore. The Northampton Chronicle has featured an article about a solicitor desperately trying to track down victims of the Jesus People movement. Also known as the Jesus Fellowship, solicitor Malcolm Johnson is working with survivors who have been affected by this religious group and subjected to financial, emotional, physical and sexual abuse associated with the Jesus Army. In September, the Jesus Fellowship Community Trust published its long-awaited compensation scheme for survivors of abuse within the now-defunct religious sect, which could see victims get up to £80,000. Malcolm claims this could be the last chance for any hidden victims to get justice, saying that people, quote, have nothing to lose by coming forward. Jamaican Loop News has reported that alleged cult church killer will not be released for Christmas following the bizarre and tragic events that took place in a church ritual last year in St. James, inside the Pathways International Kingdom Restoration Ministries, where now deceased and controversial pastor Kevin Smith allegedly told one congregant to slit the throat of Tanika Gardner. When the congregant refused, Andre Ruddock, now imprisoned, supposedly took the knife from Smith and slit Gardner's throat himself. Following this, another man of the church by the name of Michael Brown would die that same evening within the church service by means of an apparent shootout, which ended with one further congregant, Kevin Palmer, being shot by law enforcement when a shootout took place between the church members and the police. Smith died on October 25th in a car accident before he could be charged. That leads us to the end of this second instalment of Cult News. If you have enjoyed it, please consider liking and subscribing to the YouTube channel, and find me on patreon.com/The Cult Vault for exclusive and ad-free content. I'm your speaker, Casey, host of the Cult Vault podcast.